The underground parking garage smelled like oil and damp concrete. Marcus Rivera pushed his mop across the painted lines of the executive level, watching gray water pool in the grooves where tires had worn away the sealant. 11:30 at night. Half his shift remained. Above him, fluorescent tubes buzzed and flickered. The elevator chimed. Marcus glanced up. A woman in a charcoal suit stepped out, heels clicking against the polished floor. He recognized her from the brass nameplate in the lobby. Jennifer Hayes, Chief Executive Officer. She moved with the kind of speed that meant something had gone wrong. Phone pressed to her ear, free hand gesturing sharply at nothing. Behind her, 3 men emerged from the same elevator. Marcus felt it before he understood it. The wrongness. The way they fanned out instead of following. The way their hands stayed at their sides, loose and ready. Jennifer Hayes ended her call, turned toward her reserved parking space. A black sedan waiting under the security camera that Marcus knew had been broken for 2 weeks. He had reported it himself. Maintenance said they would get to it. The men closed the distance. Marcus opened his mouth to call out, but one of them was already moving, grabbing her arm, spinning her around. Her phone clattered to the concrete. She screamed. The sound echoed off the low ceiling, bouncing between concrete pillars and parked cars. Marcus dropped his mop. His body moved before his mind caught up, sneakers pounding against the floor as he ran toward the struggle. One man had her by both arms now. Another reached for her purse. The third stood watch, scanning the empty garage. Marcus had nothing. No weapon. No training. No plan. Just the weight of his own body and the memory of his daughter's voice asking if bad people always won. He slammed into the man holding Jennifer with his shoulder, the impact jarring through his bones. They both went down hard. Marcus felt his elbow crack against the concrete. Pain shot up his arm. The other 2 men turned on him instantly. A fist caught him in the ribs, then another in the jaw. His vision went white at the edges. He tasted blood, but he kept his arms up, kept his body between them and the woman who had scrambled backward toward her car. Someone kicked him in the stomach. The air left his lungs. He curled around the pain, gasping. Through the ringing in his ears, he heard Jennifer screaming again. Not fear this time. Authority. Commands. She had her phone back, was shouting an address into it, demanding police, demanding security. The men ran, footsteps echoing, the stairwell door slamming open and shut. Then silence except for Marcus's ragged breathing and the distant hum of ventilation. Jennifer Hayes knelt beside him. Her hands hovered over his shoulders, his ribs, uncertain where to touch. Blood from his split lip had dripped onto the concrete. "Don't move," she said. Her voice shook despite its firmness. "Help is coming. You saved my life. Do you understand? You saved me." Marcus tried to sit up. The world tilted. He closed his eyes, waited for it to settle. "I'm calling an ambulance," she continued. "And I want your name. I need to thank you properly. I need to." "Marcus," he managed. "Marcus Rivera. I work here. Janitorial." She looked at him differently then. He saw the moment she processed it. The uniform, the mop and bucket still visible where he had abandoned them. The realization that her savior was invisible to her on any normal day. Sirens approached in the distance. "Mr. Rivera," she said carefully. "Thank you. I will make sure everyone knows what you did tonight." He nodded, though even that small movement made his head pound. Around them, more people began to arrive. Security guards flooding in from the main entrance, their voices sharp with panic and excuses. Police officers taking statements, separating Marcus and Jennifer to different corners of the garage. But Marcus was watching something else. The way the security supervisor kept glancing between him and his team. The way another guard was already talking to a police officer, gesturing at Marcus, his expression tight with something that looked like calculation. A paramedic cleaned the blood from Marcus's face, checked his pupils, wrapped his ribs. The pain had dulled to a steady throb. He answered questions mechanically. Yes, he had seen everything. No, he did not know the attackers. Yes, he had intervened. No, he did not think about the danger. Across the garage, Jennifer Hayes spoke with determination, pointing at Marcus repeatedly, insisting on something to the cluster of officers around her. The security supervisor approached as the paramedics finished. His name tag read Thompson. Marcus had cleaned his office every night for 6 months. Need you to come with me, Thompson said. His tone held no gratitude. There are questions about what happened here. About your involvement. Marcus looked around, wondering if he should share with someone that he was watching all of this happen from a different country, feeling both connected and distant from the screen's light in his hands. The impulse passed. This was not the time for reflection. My involvement, Marcus repeated. I stopped them from hurting her. That's one version. Thompson crossed his arms. But there are procedures. Company policy. You put your hands on people. There's security footage from the elevator that needs reviewing. Until we know exactly what happened, you're suspended pending investigation. The word landed like a punch. Suspended. Marcus felt his daughter's face swim up in his memory. 7 years old. Asthma medication due for refill. Rent 3 days overdue. I saved her, Marcus said quietly. We'll determine that. Thompson turned away, already speaking into his radio. Get someone to escort Mr. Rivera out of the building. And make sure he turns in his badge and keys. Jennifer Hayes was still talking to police. Still pointing. Still insisting. But her voice did not reach across the distance. The officers nodded and wrote in their notebooks and looked at Marcus with a flat assessment of men deciding whether someone was a hero or problem. Marcus stood slowly. His ribs screamed. His jaw ached. Blood had dried in the corner of his mouth. A different security guard appeared at his elbow. Young. Uncomfortable. This way, sir. Sir. As if the title could soften the humiliation. They walked through the garage toward the service elevator. Behind them, the crime scene continued. Evidence markers. Photographs. Jennifer Hayes' voice rising with frustration. Demanding they listen. Demanding they understand. But Marcus was already being erased from the story. Already being rewritten from savior into liability. The guard at his side would not meet his eyes. Thompson had disappeared into a knot of supervisors, all of them with the same closed expression. The service elevator opened. Marcus stepped inside. The doors closed on the scene. On the woman he had saved. On the job that had just cost him everything to keep. His reflection stared back at him from the polished metal doors. Swollen lip. Bruised jaw. Blood on his collar. The uniform he would have to return. The elevator rose toward the exit, carrying him away from his paycheck, his health insurance, the stability his daughter needed to breathe. 8 months ago, Marcus Rivera had been a different man. An assistant property manager at a residential complex in the suburbs, with a decent salary and a small apartment. He had worn button-down shirts and returned tenant calls about leaking faucets and package deliveries. He had smiled at his neighbors. He had not been alone. His wife Emma had worked as a nice, third shift mostly, coming home at dawn smelling of antiseptic and exhaustion. They had passed each other like shift workers, but there had been love in the brief moments. Coffee made before she arrived home. Notes left on the bathroom mirror. Their daughter Lily's laugh filling the space between their schedules. Then the accident. A winter road. Black ice. Emma driving home from her shift at 6 in the morning. Too tired, maybe, or just unlucky. The police had used words like instantly and painless, as if those words could fill the hole torn through their lives. Marcus had fallen apart methodically. First the medical bills from the hospital that could not save her. Then the funeral costs he could not afford. Then the depression that turned simple tasks into mountains. His work performance slipped. He missed days. Made mistakes. The property management company let him go with 2 weeks severance and a speech about understanding his grief but needing someone reliable. The apartment followed. Without 2 incomes, the rent became impossible. They moved into a cheaper place. Then a cheaper one. Then a motel that charged by the week. Then the car he had been living in before it was repossessed. Now Marcus and Lily slept in a shelter on the east side, in a room that smelled of bleach and other people's desperation. Every night he lay on the thin mattress, listening to Lily's breathing, praying it would not turn into the wheeze that meant her asthma had fled. Her medication cost $140 a month. He had been 3 weeks late on the last refill. The janitorial job at the downtown office tower had been a lifeline. Overnight shift. Minimum wage. No benefits. But it was steady. It was something. He could point to his uniform and tell Lily that Daddy had work. He could buy groceries instead of relying on the shelter's donated meals. Until now, Marcus sat in the shelter's common room, his phone clutched in both hands. The screen showed his bank balance, $8 to $7. Rent at the shelter was due in 2 days. Lily's medication could not wait another week. Across the room, Lily colored at a donated table, her small hands gripping broken crayons. She hummed while she worked, oblivious to the disaster unfolding. His phone buzzed. A text from Thompson, investigation ongoing. Do not contact anyone at the company. Do not speak to media. You will be notified of findings. Marcus deleted the message. Opened his email. 23 unread messages, most of them bills and collection notices. One from Jennifer Hayes' office, timestamped an hour after the incident. Mr. Rivera, please contact me directly. I want to ensure you receive proper recognition and medical care for your actions tonight. He had tried calling 3 times. Her assistant had taken his number and promised she would return the call. That had been a day ago. Another email, this one from the building's HR department. Your employment has been terminated effective immediately. Reason, violation of company policy regarding physical altercations on property. Final paycheck will be mailed to address on file. Physical altercation. As if he had started a fight instead of stopping one. Marcus closed his eyes, felt the walls of the shelter pressing in, smelled the industrial soap and worn fabric, heard Lily's humming, so innocent, so trusting that everything would be okay because Daddy always made it okay. His phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Rivera. A woman's voice, clipped and professional. This is Dana Carr from Channel 7 News. We heard about what happened at the Meridian building. We'd like to interview you about the incident. How did you get this number? We have sources. Look, this is a great opportunity for you. Public interest is high. People want to know about the janitor who saved the CEO. We can offer you exposure, maybe some donations from viewers. I can't talk about it. Marcus kept his voice low, aware of Lily watching him now. The company said not to. The company doesn't control your story, Mr. Rivera. And honestly, you might want to get ahead of this. There are rumors circulating. Questions about what really happened down there. His chest tightened. What questions? About whether you were involved. Whether maybe you knew those men. Set it up. The security team is telling a different story than Ms. Hayes. That's insane. So tell your side. On camera. Set the record straight. Marcus hung up. His hands shook. He looked at Lily, who had abandoned her coloring and was walking toward him, her expression worried. Daddy, are you sick again? Again, because she remembered the weeks after Emma died, when he had barely gotten out of bed, when she had brought him crackers and water and patted his head the way he used to pat hers. No, baby. He pulled her onto his lap, careful of his bruised ribs. Just tired. She traced the bruise on his jaw with one gentle finger. Does it hurt? Not too much. The lady at school said you're a hero. She saw it on the news. Marcus closed his eyes. Of course it was on the news. Of course Lily's teachers were watching. Soon the other parents would watch. Then questions would come. Whispers. The same questions the reporter had implied. Maybe he set it up. Maybe he knew them. Maybe he's not what he seems. His phone buzzed again. Another text from an unknown number. You made a big mistake. You should have minded your business. This isn't over. Marcus deleted it immediately, but not before Lily saw his face change. Who was that? She asked. Nobody important. He set the phone down. Let's go get dinner, okay? The shelter has spaghetti tonight. They walked to the dining hall, Marcus's arm around his daughter's shoulders. Other residents stared. Some looked impressed. Others looked suspicious. News traveled fast in places like this, where everyone was looking for reasons to trust or distrust their neighbors. After dinner, Marcus gave Lily her inhaler treatment, counting her breaths, watching her small chest rise and fall. The medication was running low. Maybe 3 more days of doses left. He tucked her into their shared bed, reading from a library book about a girl who could fly. Lily fell asleep before the story ended, her hand curled in his shirt. Marcus lay awake, staring at the water-stained ceiling. His body ached. His mind raced. The money would run out. The medicine would run out. And then what? What would he do when Lily woke up gasping and he had nothing to give her? His phone lit up in the darkness. Another email. This one from a lawyer's office. Mr. Rivera, we represent the Meridian Building security staff. We are prepared to pursue legal action regarding defamatory statements made by you and others about our client's conduct during the incident on September 12th. Please govern yourself accordingly. The words blurred together. Marcus felt himself sinking, drowning in the same darkness that had swallowed him after Emma died. The kind of darkness that whispered he was worthless, that his daughter would be better off without him, that he ruined everything he touched. Lily stirred beside him, murmuring in her sleep. He forced himself to breathe, to stay present, to remember why surrender was not an option. But it felt close, so close he could taste it. Jennifer Hayes sat in her corner office on the 43rd floor, watching the city lights spread below her like scattered diamonds. Her hands were steady now, though they had shaken for hours after the attack. The bruises on her arms where the men had grabbed her had turned purple and yellow. Her phone buzzed. Her head of security requesting another meeting. She ignored it. Instead, she opened her laptop and typed Marcus Rivera's name into the company database. His file appeared. Hired 4 months ago through a contracted janitorial service. No disciplinary issues. Perfect attendance. The photo showed a tired-looking man with kind eyes and the sort of face that disappeared in a crowd. Jennifer clicked through to the security footage archives. Found the parking garage feed from the night of the incident. The timestamp showed the moments before the attack. She watched herself step out of the elevator, preoccupied with her phone call. Watched the 3 men emerge behind her. Watched them spread out with the coordination of people who had done this before. Then Marcus appeared, running into frame with his mop bucket still visible at the edge of the screen. No hesitation. No calculation. Just immediate action. The violence happened fast. Jennifer forced herself to watch Marcus take hit after hit, his body curling around the pain but never retreating, never letting them past him. The footage showed her scrambling backward, making the call. Showed the men fleeing. Showed Marcus collapse on the concrete while she knelt beside him. Then the security team arrived. Jennifer paused the video, rewound, watched Thompson approach, watched the other guards cluster around Marcus with expressions that were not grateful or concerned but suspicious and cold. She clicked forward to the next camera angle. The hallway outside the garage. There was Thompson, 20 minutes before the attack, speaking with someone Jennifer did not recognize. Money changing hands. Thompson checking his watch. Nodding. Her stomach turned. She reached for her phone. Dialed her personal attorney. Michael, I need you to investigate someone. Chief of Security at the Meridian Building. James Thompson. I need to know everything. Financial records. Connections. Communications. I need it yesterday. What's this about? I think he set up my attack. And I think he's destroying the man who saved my life to cover it up. She hung up before he could ask more questions. Open another window on her laptop. Search Marcus Rivera's name in news articles and social media. The stories were everywhere, but they had shifted. The early reports called him a hero. Now the headlines were different. Questions surround parking garage incident. Security staff claims janitor may have been involved. Homeless man who saves CEO has history of mental health issues. Jennifer's jaw clenched. She clicked through to the sources. Anonymous security personnel. Company spokespeople carefully noting that investigations were ongoing. Implications without direct accusations. Death by innuendo. She found Marcus's address. A homeless shelter on the east side. No phone number listed. Her assistant knocked and entered. Ms. Hayes, the board is requesting another meeting about the incident. They want to discuss security protocols and tell them I'll meet when I'm ready. Jennifer shut her laptop. Right now I need a car brought around. I'm going out. Where? To fix a mistake. 20 minutes later, Jennifer's town car pulled up outside the Sunrise shelter. The building was gray concrete and narrow windows, a former motel converted into temporary housing. People clustered outside smoking, their eyes following the expensive car with a mixture of curiosity and resentment. Jennifer stepped out, felt every gaze on her designer suit and leather bag. The driver stayed with the car. Inside, The lobby smelled of cleaning products and overcooked food. A woman behind a plexiglass window looked up from her paperwork. "Help you? I'm looking for Marcus Rivera. I was told he stays here." The woman's expression closed. "We don't give out resident information. My name is Jennifer Hayes. I'm the woman he saved. I need to speak with him." Recognition flickered across the woman's face. Then something else. Pity, maybe, or concern. "Is not here. Haven't seen him since this morning." "Do you know where he went?" "No idea." "But—" The woman hesitated. "His daughter's sick. Heard one of the other residents say she was having trouble breathing. They might have gone to the emergency room." Cold fear washed through Jennifer. "Which hospital?" "County General, probably. It's the closest one that takes people without insurance." Jennifer was back in the car before the woman finished speaking. "County General. As fast as you can." The hospital emergency room was crowded and fluorescent and loud. Jennifer pushed through to the reception desk, where a harried nurse barely looked up. "I'm looking for a patient. Lily Rivera, 7 years old. Asthma attack. Are you family?" "No, but—" "Then I can't help you. Privacy laws." The nurse returned to her computer. Jennifer wanted to scream, wanted to pull rank, make threats, demand answers. Instead, she stepped back and scanned the waiting room. There, in the corner, Marcus slumped in a plastic chair, his head in his hands. Beside him, a small girl lay across 2 chairs, her chest rising and falling with labored effort. An inhaler dangled from her small hand. Jennifer crossed the room. Marcus looked up as she approached, his eyes red-rimmed and exhausted. "Ms. Hayes." He started to stand, wincing. "What are you doing here?" "Sit, please." She took the chair beside him. "Is she okay?" They gave her a breathing treatment. Said she needs to be admitted for observation. "But—" He gestured helplessly. "I don't have insurance. They want payment up front or they'll discharge her." Jennifer looked at the little girl, at her thin frame and the blue tinge around her lips, at the way she struggled for each breath. "How much?" Jennifer asked. $3,000 as a deposit. More if she needs overnight." Marcus laughed, a broken sound. "Might as well be $3 million. Jennifer pulled out her phone. "Made a call. I need $3,000 delivered to County General Emergency Room. Cash. Within the hour." She paused. "No, not a check. Cash. Thank you." Marcus stared at her. "You can't." "I already did." She put her phone away. "And that's just the beginning. I'm paying for everything. Her treatment, your medical bills from the attack, and I'm getting you a lawyer." "Why?" The word came out as a whisper. "Because you saved my life, Mr. Rivera, and because my company is trying to destroy you for it." She leaned forward, her voice fierce. "I've seen the security footage. All of it. I know what Thompson did, and I know you're innocent. So we're going to fight this. Together." Tears slipped down Marcus's face. He covered his mouth, shoulders shaking. Lily stirred, her eyes opening. "Daddy." "Right here, baby." He took her hand, his voice thick. "Everything's going to be okay now." Jennifer watched them, father and daughter, broken and still holding on. She had been in that parking garage, facing men who wanted to hurt her, and this man had run toward the danger without hesitation, had taken blows that were meant for her, had protected her with his body and asked for nothing in return. The system had chewed him up for it, had spit him out, had tried to paint him as the villain in his own act of heroism. Not anymore. Jennifer Hayes was a woman who had built a company from nothing, who had fought and clawed and never backed down from a challenge. And right now, looking at Marcus Rivera holding his daughter's hand in a hospital waiting room, she made a promise. She would bane down anyone who stood in the way of making this right. The money arrived in a manila envelope, delivered by a courier in a suit. The nurse at the reception desk called for a doctor immediately. Suddenly efficient now, that payment was guaranteed. Within minutes, Lily was being wheeled to a pediatric unit, oxygen mask fitted over her small face. Marcus followed behind, his hand on the gurney, his eyes never leaving his daughter. Jennifer walked beside him, her phone pressed to her ear, making calls, dispensing orders, assembling resources with the speed of someone used to commanding outcomes. In the pediatric wing, Lily was settled into a room with cheerful painted walls and a window overlooking the city. The doctor, young and kind, explained that they would keep her overnight for monitoring. Her oxygen levels were improving. The acute phase had passed. Marcus sat beside her bed, holding her hand. Lily's eyes were heavy with exhaustion and medication, but she smiled up at him. "Daddy, who's the lady?" "A friend," Marcus said softly. "She's helping us. She's pretty." Lily's eyes drifted closed, like Mama was. The words hit Marcus like a fist. He bowed his head, pressing Lily's hand to his forehead. Jennifer stepped out into the hallway, giving them privacy. She made another call. "Michael, what did you find?" Her attorney's voice came through tight with anger. "Thompson's got a gambling problem. Owes money to some very unpleasant people. The attack on you was a setup. They were supposed to make it look like a robbery. Get your access cards and passwords. Thompson would let them into the building later, into the server room. Corporate espionage. Your company's proprietary data was the real target. And Marcus. Wrong place, wrong time. He ruined the whole operation. So Thompson's been spinning a narrative to discredit him, feeding stories to the media, coaching his security staff to make statements. If Rivera looks unstable or criminal, no one believes his version of events. Can you prove it? Working on it. Thompson's smart, but is also desperate, and desperate people make mistakes. Michael paused. "Jennifer, be careful. If Thompson realizes you're digging into this, he might escalate. Let him try." She hung up, returned to Lily's room. Marcus had composed himself. He stood when Jennifer entered, his expression raw with gratitude and something like shame. "I don't know how to thank you," he said. "Then don't." Jennifer pulled a chair closer. "Just tell me what you need. Real answers, Mr. Rivera. Your daughter is safe now. So what comes next? Where do you go after she's discharged?" "Back to the shelter, I guess. If they still have room." He rubbed his face. "I need to find another job. Fast. But with the investigation hanging over me, no one's going to hire me." "What if you didn't need another job?" Jennifer kept her voice level. "What if I hired you? Not as a janitor. Something better. Something with benefits and stability." Marcus looked at her with disbelief. "You can't be serious." "I'm always serious about business. You're smart, Mr. Rivera. You have instincts. You see things other people miss. I could use someone like that. Your board would never allow it." "My board doesn't run my company." Jennifer smiled, sharp as a knife. "I do." Before Marcus could respond, Jennifer's phone rang. She glanced at the screen. Thompson's name. She answered on speaker. "Ms. Hayes." Thompson's voice was smooth, professional. "I wanted to update you on the investigation into the parking garage incident. We've completed our internal review, and I'm afraid we have concerns about Mr. Rivera's involvement." "What concerns?" Jennifer asked coldly. "His story doesn't quite add up. The timeline is questionable, and we've discovered he has a history of financial problems, which suggests a possible motive for staging something like this." Marcus went pale. Jennifer held up a hand, signaling him to stay quiet. "That's fascinating," Jennifer said, "because I've been conducting my own investigation. Tell me, Thompson, how much do you owe to the West Side Sportsbook?" Silence. "I'll save you the trouble of lying," Jennifer continued. $4,000 to $7,000. Due last week. Must be stressful, having that kind of debt. Makes a man do desperate things." "I don't know what you're implying." "I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. And here's another fact. I have security footage showing you meeting with an unknown individual 20 minutes before the attack. Money changed hands. You checked your watch, almost like you were coordinating something." More silence. Then Thompson's voice, harder now. "You're making a serious accusation, Ms. Hayes. I hope you have evidence to back it up." "I have enough." She leaned forward. "And I'm going to find more. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to resign, effective immediately. You're going to withdraw all statements made about Mr. Rivera. And you're going to pray I don't hand what I've found to the police." "Oh." Thompson's voice had turned ugly. "Why destroy you? Publicly. Completely. I have resources you can't imagine, Thompson, and right now, I'm very motivated to use them. She hung up, looked at Marcus, whose expression had shifted from despair to something like hope. Is not going to accept that, Marcus said quietly. I know. Jennifer stood, which is why we're going to move first. I'm calling a press conference. Tomorrow morning. You and I are going to tell the real story. Show the footage. Expose Thompson and everyone who helped him. They'll come after me harder. They'll try. Jennifer's smile was fierce. But they'll have to go through me first. And Mr. Rivera? I don't lose. That night, Marcus stayed at the hospital with Lily. Jennifer returned to her office, where her legal team was already assembling evidence. Phone records, financial statements, security footage from multiple angles. But now, sitting in this hospital room with the machines beeping softly and the city lights glowing through the window, a thought crossed Marcus's mind about all the people in the world who might understand what it feels like to hope when hope seemed impossible. He thought about connection, about how stories like theirs might resonate across distances, how someone watching from somewhere else entirely might feel less alone knowing that even in the darkest moments, things could shift. If you're watching this from wherever you are in the world, he thought, maybe you understand this feeling. Maybe you've been where I am. If you do, leave a comment about where you're from, because right now, knowing that someone out there understands would make this darkness feel a little less heavy. Thompson called twice more. Jennifer did not answer. By midnight, her attorney had confirmed what they suspected. Thompson had been working with a corporate espionage ring, contracted by a rival company to steal proprietary data. The attack on Jennifer was meant to facilitate the theft. Marcus had disrupted everything. Jennifer looked at the assembled evidence, looked at the statements from her legal team confirming they had enough to press charges. Tomorrow would be a war. Thompson would fight back. The board would demand explanations. The media would descend like vultures. But Jennifer had built her career on winning impossible battles. And this time, she was not fighting for market share or quarterly profits. She was fighting for a man who had saved her life and asked for nothing. For a little girl who deserved to breathe easy. For the principle that heroism should be rewarded, not punished. Jennifer opened her laptop and began writing her statement for the press conference. The words came easily. The truth always did. The press conference was held in the main auditorium of the Meridian building, exactly 1 week after the attack. Reporters filled every seat, cameras positioned at the front, microphones clustered on the podium. The air hummed with anticipation. Jennifer Hayes stood backstage, reviewing her notes. Beside her, Marcus Rivera shifted nervously in the suit Jennifer had bought for him that morning. It fit well, but he looked uncomfortable, unused to anything beyond his janitor's uniform. You don't have to do this, Jennifer said quietly. I can tell the story alone. No. Marcus straightened his tie. People need to hear it from me. Otherwise, they'll keep making up their own versions. Jennifer nodded, respected that. She had learned over the past week that Marcus Rivera possessed a quiet strength that went deeper than physical courage. He had endured humiliation and lies and desperation, and he was still standing. The event coordinator gave them a signal. Time. They walked onto the stage together. Camera flashes erupted. Reporters shouted questions. Jennifer raised a hand, and the room gradually quieted. Thank you for coming, she began. 1 week ago, I was attacked in the parking garage of this building. 3 men attempted to assault and rob me. I believed I was going to die. She paused, letting that sink in. But I didn't die, because Marcus Rivera, a janitor working the overnight shift, ran toward the danger and put himself between me and my attackers. He took blows that were meant for me. He protected me with his body. He saved my life. Marcus stood beside her, his hands clasped in front of him, his expression carefully neutral. In the days since, Jennifer continued, Mr. Rivera has been the subject of an organized campaign to discredit him. False accusations, implied criminality, questions about his involvement in the very attack he stopped. These lies were spread by members of my own security staff, led by former Chief of Security James Thompson. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Reporters typed frantically. This morning, I turned over evidence to the district attorney proving that Thompson was involved in a conspiracy to facilitate corporate espionage against my company. The attack on me was orchestrated to obtain access credentials to our secure systems. Mr. Rivera's intervention ruined their plan, so they attempted to destroy him to cover their tracks. Jennifer turned to the screen behind her. The security footage began to play. The attack. Marcus's immediate response. The violence he endured. The men fleeing. Then Thompson's arrival, his cold assessment, his decision to spin the narrative. The room was silent except for the sound of the footage. When it ended, Jennifer looked directly into the cameras. Marcus Rivera is a hero. Full stop. And my company failed him catastrophically. We allowed him to be persecuted for an act of extraordinary courage. We prioritized protecting our reputation over protecting the man who protected me. That ends now. She gestured for Marcus to step forward. He approached the podium slowly, clearly uncomfortable with the attention. I'm not good at speeches, Marcus said, his voice quiet but steady. I'm just a guy trying to take care of my daughter. When I saw Ms. Hayes in danger, I didn't think. I just acted. That's what anyone should do. He paused, gathering himself. After, I lost my job. Got accused of things I didn't do. Couldn't pay my bills. Couldn't afford my daughter's medication. We were living in a shelter, and I was starting to think we'd never get out. That maybe I'd made a mistake trying to help. His voice broke slightly. He cleared his throat. But Ms. Hayes came to find me. She believed me when no one else did. She paid for my daughter's hospital care. She's given me a chance at a real job, with benefits and stability. She's given me my life back. Marcus looked at Jennifer, then back at the cameras. I'm not a hero. I'm just a dad who did what was right. But I'm grateful to Ms. Hayes for doing what was right too. For fighting for me when the system was trying to crush me. That takes courage. Real courage. The questions erupted immediately. Reporters shouting, demanding details, asking about criminal charges and company policy and what would happen next. Jennifer answered calmly, methodically. Yes, Thompson had been arrested. Yes, charges were being filed. Yes, the company would be implementing comprehensive reforms to security protocols and employment practices. Yes, Mr. Rivera would be joining the company in a permanent position with full benefits. No, she would not be taking questions about the ongoing investigation. Her attorney had advised against it. The press conference lasted 4 to 5 minutes. By the end, the narrative had shifted. The headlines forming in real time were different now. CEO exposes corporate conspiracy. Janitor hero vindicated. Security chief arrested in espionage plot. Backstage afterward, Marcus sagged against the wall, exhausted. You did well, Jennifer said. I thought I was going to pass out. He laughed shakily. How do you do that all the time? Practice. And righteous anger. She checked her phone. Messages flooding in. Some supportive, some critical. But the truth was out now. The rest was noise. Her assistant appeared. Ms. Hayes, Mr. Rivera, there's someone here to see you. They followed her to a small conference room. Inside, a woman in a prosecutor's badge waited with a detective. Ms. Hayes, Mr. Rivera. The prosecutors shook their hands. I'm Assistant District Attorney Chen. We've reviewed the evidence you provided. It's solid. We'll be moving forward with multiple charges against Thompson and his co-conspirators. What about Marcus? Jennifer asked. Will there be any charges against him? None. The evidence clearly shows he acted in defense of another person. He's a witness, not a suspect. Chen turned to Marcus. We'll need your testimony when this goes to trial. Marcus nodded. Whatever you need. After the meeting, Jennifer and Marcus walked through the building lobby. People stared. Some approached to shake Marcus's hand, to thank him, to apologize. He accepted it all with quiet grace. Outside, Jennifer's car waited. Can I give you a ride some way? To the hospital. Lily's being discharged today. They drove in comfortable silence. When they arrived, Jennifer followed Marcus to the pediatric unit. Lily was dressed and ready, her color much better, her breathing easy. She lit up when she saw her father. Daddy! She launched herself into his arms. Marcus caught her, spinning her around despite his still-healing ribs. "Hey, baby girl. Ready to go home?" "Where's home now?" Lily asked. "Good question." Marcus looked at Jennifer, uncertainty in his eyes. "I have a property," Jennifer said. "A guest house on my estate. 3 bedrooms, fully furnished. It's been empty for months. You could stay there, temporarily, until you find your own place. Or permanently, if you prefer." Marcus opened his mouth to protest. Jennifer cut him off. "It's not charity. You'll be working for it. The position I'm offering comes with housing as part of the compensation package. Consider it a signing bonus." "What position?" Marcus asked carefully. "Director of Facilities Operations. You'll oversee building maintenance, security protocols, staff management. You know this building better than anyone. You've cleaned every inch of it. You notice details other people miss. That's valuable. I'm not qualified for that. You're more qualified than the man I hired last time." Jennifer smiled. "And I trust you. That's worth more than any resume." Marcus looked down at Lily, who was watching the exchange with bright, curious eyes. "Can we have a dog?" Lily asked. "What?" Marcus blinked. "If we have a house, can we get a dog? Mama always wanted one." Marcus's eyes filled with tears. He nodded, unable to speak. Jennifer felt her own throat tighten. She turned away, giving them a moment. When she turned back, Marcus had composed himself. "Okay," he said. "Okay, we'll try it. But I pay rent, even if it's just a little. And I work for everything we get. No handouts. Deal?" Jennifer extended her hand. Marcus shook it firmly. "Thank you. For everything. I don't know how to repay you." "You already did. In a parking garage. When it mattered most." She released his hand. "Let's go see your new home." They drove to Jennifer's estate in the hills, where old trees lined the driveway and the guest house sat nestled beside a garden. It was modest by estate standards, but palatial compared to the shelter. Lily ran from room to room, exclaiming over the space, the windows, the bathtub that was bigger than any she had ever seen. Marcus stood in the living room, overwhelmed. "The main house is through the garden," Jennifer explained. "I'm there most evenings and weekends. You'll have privacy, but I'm close if you need anything. We'll get Lily enrolled in the local school, which is excellent. And there's a park 2 blocks away." "This is too much," Marcus whispered. "It's exactly enough." Jennifer headed for the door, then paused. "Oh, and Marcus, start Monday. Human Resources will have all the paperwork ready. Welcome to the team." She left before he could argue further. 6 months later, Marcus Rivera stood in his office on the 14th floor of the Meridian building, reviewing maintenance schedules on his computer. Outside his window, the city stretched toward the horizon, bright and busy. His phone buzzed. A text from Lily's teacher. "Lily did wonderfully on her presentation today. She talked about heroes and how anyone can be one. Very moving." Marcus smiled. Saved the message. A knock on his door. One of the maintenance staff, young guy named Chris, looking nervous. "Mr. Rivera? There's a situation in the parking garage. Someone's car broke down, and they are having trouble with their phone. I thought you might want to know since, you know, you're always talking about how we should look out for people." Marcus grabbed his jacket. "Show me." They took the elevator down to the garage, now equipped with new cameras, better lighting, and a direct line to security that actually responded. The broken-down car belonged to a woman Marcus recognized from accounting. She looked stressed, phone pressed to her ear. "Hey," Marcus approached gently. "Car trouble?" She looked up, relieved. "Mr. Rivera." "Yes, it won't start. I've been trying to call a tow truck, but they're saying 2 hours minimum. Mind if I take a look?" "You know cars. I know a little about a lot of things." He popped the hood, checked the battery connections. "Want it come loose?" He tightened it, then gestured for her to try starting the car. It turned over immediately. "Oh my God, thank you." She laughed with relief. "You just saved me 2 hours and probably $200. Just tighten those connections every few months," Marcus advised. "Vibration works them loose." After she drove away, Chris looked at Marcus with something like awe. "Man, you really do notice everything. That's the job." Marcus headed back to the elevator. noticing, helping, making sure people are okay. In his pocket, his phone buzzed again. This time a text from Jennifer. Board meeting went well. They approved the employee assistance program you proposed. Launches next month. Nice work. The employee assistance program. Marcus's idea. Emergency loans, mental health support, childcare resources, housing assistance for workers in crisis. The kind of help he wished had existed when he was drowning. Now it would exist. For others who were where he had been. Marcus returned to his office and opened his laptop, ready to write the next chapter of making sure that every worker in this building knew they mattered, knew they had support, knew they were seen. Let me ask you something. If you've made it this far in this story, if you felt something reading about Marcus and Lily and Jennifer, then maybe you understand that stories like these matter. They remind us that good deeds should be rewarded, that heroes exist in ordinary places, that systems can change when people fight for what's right. If this story moved you, here's what I'm asking. Like this video so more people can find it. Leave a comment about which part hit you hardest. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next story. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And check the description below where you'll find resources about helping people in situations like Marcus faced. Because the truth is, we all have the power to be someone's Jennifer Hayes, to step up when it matters, to see the invisible people and fight for them. So what do you say? Will you be part of that? Outside his office window, the city moved through another ordinary day. People rushing to meetings, grabbing coffee, navigating their small dramas and large dreams. Marcus Rivera watched them all, grateful for his view, grateful for his second chance, grateful for a daughter who breathed easy and a job that gave him purpose. But most of all, grateful that in his darkest moment, when the world had tried to break him, one person had looked past the uniform and the accusations and seen the truth. That had made all the difference. And now, every day, Marcus tried to be that person for someone else. To notice, to help, to fight when fighting was required. Because that was what heroes did. Not in capes or headlines, but in small moments. In parking garages, in offices, in the everyday choice to stand up when standing up was hard. Marcus Rivera had learned that lesson in the worst way possible. Now he got to teach it to others in the best way he knew how. By living it. Every single day. He returned to his work, the afternoon light slanting through his window, his daughter safe at school, his future finally bright. And somewhere in the building below, someone noticed his kindness, felt his care, and decided to pass it forward. The ripples spread outward, touching lives Marcus would never know, creating change he would never see. But it was there, real and growing. One act of courage at a time. 1 year later, the auditorium was packed for the annual company meeting. But this year felt different. The energy had shifted. Marcus could feel it as he stood backstage, adjusting his tie for the third time. Stop fidgeting. Jennifer appeared beside him, immaculate as always in a navy suit. You look fine. I'm not good at this, Marcus muttered, speaking in front of hundreds of people. You did fine at the press conference. That was adrenaline. This is different. Jennifer smiled. You're receiving an award, Marcus. The company's first ever Courage and Integrity Award. Just accept it graciously and say a few words. It doesn't have to be perfect. What if I mess up? Then you mess up. She squeezed his shoulder. But you won't, because you're going to speak from the heart, which is what you always do. The event coordinator appeared. Ms. Hayes, we're ready for you. Jennifer walked onto the stage to applause. Marcus watched from the wings as she addressed the crowd, talking about the company's growth over the past year, the new programs implemented, the cultural changes they had fought for. But none of that matters, Jennifer said, if we don't recognize and celebrate the people who make this company what it is. People who embody our values not just in policy documents, but in their daily actions. People who show us what courage really looks like. She gestured toward the wings. Marcus Rivera, would you please join me? Marcus walked out onto the stage, his heart hammering. The applause was thunderous. People stood. He saw faces in the crowd he recognized. Maintenance workers he supervised, executives he reported to, security guards who had apologized to him personally after Thompson's arrest. Jennifer held a crystal award, simple and elegant. This award is given to an employee who demonstrates exceptional courage, integrity, and commitment to doing what's right, even when it's difficult. Marcus, you saved my life. But more than that, you reminded all of us what it means to act with moral clarity in a moment of crisis. You've transformed this company's culture, not through mandate, but through example. Thank you. She handed him the award. More applause. Marcus stepped to the microphone, looked out at the sea of faces, took a breath. A year ago, he began, I was sleeping in a shelter with my daughter, wondering how I was going to pay for her medication. I had lost everything. My wife, my career, my hope. And then one night, in a parking garage, I made a choice. Not because I'm special or brave, but because someone needed help and I was there. He paused, gathering his thoughts. What happened after almost destroyed me? I was accused, fired, discredited. The system I had tried to protect turned against me. If Ms. Hayes hadn't fought for the truth, I don't know where my daughter and I would be right now. Probably still in that shelter. Maybe worse. His voice strengthened. But here's what I learned. Systems only work when people make them work. When individuals stand up and demand better. When someone with power decides to use it for good instead of convenience. Ms. Hayes did that for me. And now, in this job, I try to do it for others. He held up the award. This doesn't belong to me. It belongs to every person who's been invisible, overlooked, dismissed. Every janitor, every security guard, every maintenance worker who keeps this building running while others take credit. Every single parent working 2 jobs and still falling behind. Every person the system failed. Marcus looked directly at Jennifer. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible. Thank you for fighting when it would have been easier to walk away. And thank you for teaching me that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being afraid and doing the right thing anyway. He stepped back from the microphone. The applause started again, but this time it felt different. Deeper, more personal. After the ceremony, people approached Marcus in waves, thanking him, sharing their own stories of struggle and perseverance. He listened to each one, shook every hand, tried to give everyone the dignity of being truly heard. An older woman from housekeeping pulled him aside. My son was sick last month. Couldn't afford the emergency room. I used the employee assistance fund you created. They paid for everything. No questions, no judgment. You saved his life, Mr. Rivera. Marcus felt his throat tighten. I'm glad we could help. You did more than help. You gave us hope that someone cares. She patted his hand. Don't ever forget how many lives you've touched. Later, Marcus drove home to the guest house, the award sitting on the passenger seat. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Lily met him at the door, still in her school uniform, their rescue dog Charlie wagging beside her. Daddy, did you get the trophy? I did. He held it up. Can I hold it? Of course. Lily took the crystal award carefully, turning it in her hands, reading the inscription. What does integrity mean? It means doing the right thing even when no one's watching. Like when you helped that lady in the garage. Exactly like that. Lily handed the award back. Mama would be proud of you. The words hit Marcus like they always did, bittersweet and beautiful. You think so? I know so. She told me heroes don't wear capes. They just show up when people need them. Lily paused. That's you, Daddy. Marcus pulled her into a hug, blinking back tears. Charlie pressed against their legs, completing the small circle of their family. Inside, Marcus set the award on a shelf beside a photo of Emma. He stood there for a moment, looking at his wife's smile, remembering her voice, her laugh, the life they had built together. I'm okay, he told her picture quietly. We're okay. I wish you were here to see it, but I think you know. His phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. Dinner this weekend? I'm cooking. Bring Lily and that ridiculous dog. Marcus smiled. Type back. We'll be there. Fair warning, Charlie sheds. Jennifer, so does my cat. They can compete. Another text came through. This one from Chris, the young maintenance worker. Hey boss, there's a family in 4B having trouble with their heat. I remembered what you said about not waiting for official work orders when people are cold. Fix it myself. Hope that's okay. Marcus's chest swelled with pride. That was it. That was the change he had hoped to create. People empowered to help each other without waiting for permission. He replied, "That's exactly right. Good work." Lily called him to dinner. They ate spaghetti at the small kitchen table, Charlie begging shamelessly for scraps, the news playing quietly on the television. The anchor was talking about corporate reform initiatives, changes in workplace culture, new laws protecting employees who intervene in emergencies. Marcus's story had sparked something larger than himself. Conversations about who gets protected and who gets punished. About invisible labor and visible heroism. "Daddy, can we go to the park after dinner?" Lily asked. "Sure, baby. Let me do the dishes first." "I'll help." They washed dishes together, Lily standing on a stool, chattering about her day at school. She was thriving now. Her asthma was controlled, her grades were excellent, and she had friends who came over for playdates in the big backyard. Everything Marcus had fought for. Everything he had almost lost. At the park, Lily ran ahead with Charlie, their laughter echoing in the twilight. Marcus sat on a bench, watching them play. Other parents nodded to him in recognition. Some approached to shake his hand, to tell him they had seen the news, to say they admired what he had done. He accepted it all with humble grace, still uncomfortable with the attention but understanding its importance. His story had become larger than himself, a symbol of something people needed to believe in. That ordinary people could be extraordinary. That systems could change. That justice, though delayed, could still arrive. A young man sat down beside him, probably mid-20s, wearing a fast food uniform, exhaustion etched in his face. "You're Marcus Rivera," the man said. "I am. I saw you on the news. Read about what happened." The man stared at his hands. "I've been working 3 jobs trying to support my mom. She's sick. I'm behind on everything. Sometimes I think about just giving up, you know?" Marcus nodded slowly. "I know that feeling. But then I think about your story. How you kept going even when everything was falling apart. How someone eventually saw you and helped." The man looked at Marcus. "Does it really happen? Do people actually help?" "Sometimes," Marcus said honestly. "Not always. Not as often as they should. But sometimes, yes. And sometimes you have to hold on just long enough for that help to arrive. What if it doesn't? Then you hold on anyway. For the people who need you. For the possibility that tomorrow might be different." Marcus paused. "What's your mom's name?" "Patricia." "Is she on any kind of assistance?" "She's been denied twice. Appeals take forever." Marcus pulled out his phone. "Give me your contact information. I know people who might be able to help navigate the system. No promises, but let me see what I can do." The man's eyes filled with tears. "Why would you help me? You don't know me." "Because someone helped me when I needed it most. Now I help others when I can. That's how it works." Marcus met his eyes. "That's how it should work." They exchanged information. Marcus made a note to follow up with Jennifer's connections in social services. Maybe they could expedite Patricia's case. Maybe they could find resources the family didn't know existed. Maybe. But at least it was a chance. The young man stood to leave, then turned back. "Thank you. Even if nothing comes of it. Thank you for caring." "Take care of yourself," Marcus said. "And your mom. You're doing good work." After the man left, Marcus sat alone with his thoughts. Lily and Charlie played in the distance, their silhouettes dark against the fading light. This was his life now. Not perfect, but good. Not without pain, but full of purpose. Not the life he had planned with Emma, but a life she would have been proud of. He thought about the journey. From property manager to homeless father to janitor to director. From invisible to visible. From broken to healing. The road had been brutal. The cost had been high. But sitting here, watching his daughter play, knowing he had a job that mattered in a home that was safe, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. His phone buzzed one more time. A news alert. Former Security Chief James Thompson sentenced to 8 years in federal prison for conspiracy, corporate espionage, and obstruction of justice. 2 co-conspirators also sentenced. Marcus read the headline and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no anger. Thompson's fate was sealed by his own choices. Marcus had moved beyond needing revenge. He was too busy building something better. Lily ran over, breathless and happy. "Daddy, can Charlie sleep in my room tonight? You know the rules. He has his own bed, but he gets lonely." "The dog is not lonely. He sleeps better than both of us." Lily giggled. "Please, just tonight." Marcus pretended to consider it. "Fine, just tonight." She threw her arms around him. "You're the best daddy in the whole world." "I don't know about that," Marcus said softly. "But I'm trying." They walked home as stars began to appear. Charlie trotted between them, tail wagging. Somewhere in the distance, sirens wailed. Life continuing in all its messy complexity. Marcus thought about all the people out there right now who were where he had been a year ago. Scared, desperate, invisible, wondering if anyone would ever see them, help them, fight for them. He couldn't save them all, couldn't fix every broken system, couldn't right every wrong. But he could show up, could do his job with integrity, could create programs that helped, could tell his story so others knew they weren't alone, could sit on a park bench and offer hope to a stranger who needed it. One person at a time, one moment at a time, one choice at a time. That was how change happened. Not in grand gestures, but in daily decisions to be better, do better, demand better. Marcus Rivera had learned that lesson in a parking garage, defending a woman he didn't know from men who meant her harm. Now he lived that lesson every day. And somewhere in the city, in ways he would never know, the ripples continued to spread. Someone helping someone who helps someone else. Courage breeding courage. Integrity inspiring integrity. One act of goodness creating space for the next. That was his legacy now. Not the award on his shelf or the headlines that had faded, but the quiet, persistent work of making the world slightly better than he found it. Marcus unlocked the front door of the guest house. Inside, warmth and light welcomed them home. Lily ran to her room to change. Charlie followed, already claiming his unauthorized spot on her bed. Marcus stood in the doorway, looking at this life he had rebuilt from nothing, at the second chance he had been given, at the future that stretched ahead, uncertain but no longer terrifying. "You're safe with me now," he whispered to the empty room, remembering the words he had spoken to Jennifer in that garage. Words that had become a promise, a commitment, a way of being in the world. And they were safe. Both of them. Finally, Marcus smiled and closed the door. Tomorrow he would go back to work, would answer emails and manage schedules and look for more ways to help people who needed it. But tonight, he would read Lilia's story, would tuck her in beside the dog she wasn't supposed to have in her bed, would kiss her forehead and whisper that he loved her, would lie in his own bed and feel grateful for every moment that had led him here, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones, because without the darkness, he never would have learned to appreciate the light. Without falling, he never would have learned how to rise. Without losing everything, he never would have discovered what truly mattered. And what mattered was this: showing up when people needed help, standing up when standing up was hard, fighting for those who couldn't fight for themselves, being, in every small way possible, someone's reason to keep hoping. Marcus Rivera closed his eyes and slept peacefully for the first time in 2 years.